Well, that could have gone better. Welcome back to part 7 of Celeste. This time we're going to re-attempt to climb on the mountain. To be fair, I have very mixed feelings about this chapter in terms of how it works. Like the B-side and C-sides, you've probably heard me mention before, I really don't like at all. But because it's the gimmicks that they introduced in this level that they're fine, they're just annoying when they're tested. Like these gold feathers you saw during the talk last part. The gold feathers have a complete 360 control with them, so I highly recommend switching to the analog stick the moment you control them. They're the thing I was on about the other part where I said there's only one thing in this game that I don't control with the D-pad, that's them. Because it's just the better option to control them with the analog stick because of the full 360 spin, as I go straight into a spike. Because they're very fluid and freeform and how you can control it. You can still use the D-pad, don't get me wrong, it's just these feel much better to use it for. Especially if you're someone who's ever played a twin stick shooter, you'll feel right at home using them. Well, I tried. You can squeeze through that gap there instead to make the later part easier, but I just don't think there's a point because you can make it anyway. But these platforms, you have to boost into them and it will make them go in that direction. But it will only work if they have a blue mark on them. If there isn't a blue mark on one of the sides, boosting into that side won't do anything. Like, see all these, all the sides on it are blue, so you can hit it and it will jump. Also worth mentioning, as I get myself crushed, also worth mentioning, there's not a single collectible strawberry in this level. The only two collectibles are the tape and the crystal heart. I'll show you what the crystal heart is and I'll explain how it works, but I'm not going to bother doing it because it takes way too long. But first, the tape's over here. This one shouldn't take you too long to do, because it's just timing your jump. That's why there's these here, to just make sure you don't just race ahead. There we go. I'll start explaining the crystal heart now, because we're going to start heading there next. What you need to know about the crystal heart in this chapter is to get it, you need to remember the pattern from the crystal heart in chapter 1. Which means if you haven't been doing them in order, you won't know it. But the order that you saw, I did do it in chapter 1, so I don't have to worry about this later. You have to do it normally, do it backwards, do it opposite direction, and then do opposite direction backwards, I think. The last one I might be wrong on, but I know one of them is do it normal, do it backwards. I'm pretty sure the last one is do it inverse. So if you went diagonal bottom right, go diagonal top left, that sort of thing. But here it is. It shows you the pattern. Alright, so it's normal, flipped, inverse, and oh, you got to try and work out the last one for yourself. I think it's inverse flipped. I think it's both, which is why they cover it up. That one's really fucking cryptic, and if you're not following a walkthrough, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the one you don't get, because it might not seem obvious to do that. I was so close. It's over now. Why won't she leave me alone? I hate her. But she's part of me. I'll never be able to get rid of her. And she was right. I couldn't climb the mountain. That's a scene that I completely missed on my first playthrough. That's not where you're supposed to go. Once you get access to the gold feather, you're supposed to just keep on going. And when you get over here, you're supposed to just keep on going right. You can also take the gold feather with you into the next room if you want. There's no real purpose to it, but you can do it. You need to be quicker. You need to crouch that. Crouch that as well. Then I need to hit it again to get it moving. You see how the top and bottom are blacked out because they won't matter. If I boost into them, the thing won't move. Same with this one. If I hit it from the top and bottom, it'd do nothing. There we go. Thankfully, the game is very forgiving on the launch properties of those things. So if you jump a little late, it'll probably forgive you and let you launch you anyway. And the music's starting to pick up. I won't shut up for this piece of music because it's not the best track. I think this is one of the weaker tracks. I know what it's trying to do and know what its purpose is. It's to try and, well, make you reflect, hence the name of the chapter. But I don't think it's my favourite. There's another track in this chapter that I absolutely adore that we'll be getting to. And I'll shut up for that, don't get me wrong. Also, by the way, here there's two paths. There's an upper and a lower path. The upper path's harder, so of course, like the madman I am, I'm going to go for that one. They both lead to the same place, and since there's no strawberries, it really doesn't matter what path you choose. You're just doing it for preference, if you want the challenge or if you want the easier path. I jumped too soon. Need to wait until it hits it. Whoa. And those things aren't as bad as they look. Oh, this is where the paths meet again, by the way. If you've gone the lower path, you'll meet in this room at the bottom. But those circle things that push you back, they look like springs from Sonic. They're really not as bad to keep your control on as you might think they are. They're annoying, don't get me wrong, but they're not. You'll be able to bounce off them consistently. They're not like the actual. I always forget what they're called when I want to think of them. It's always when I'm not recording enough and I remember what they're called. The circular springs from Sonic, that when you tap them, they always bounce you off. The ones that's in every casino theme level ever. Well, anyway, they're not as hard to stay on top of as they are, because those things are a nightmare to keep on top of if you try and do it. That part's easy. If you jump up, you won't have to worry about getting crushed, because that does get destroyed anyway. It's a bit of a cop-out, because you might not realise it's supposed to break until after your first death, but if you just jump, you'll be fine. Also, when you hit the spring, it restores your boost every time, so there's really no threat. You have to boost, if they're bubbled, you have to boost into them to break through the bubbles. You'll just bounce off, but you'll probably gather that straight away. Oh, I remember this one being a bit annoying. Oh, I missed it. Oh. But we're actually quite near the end of the game now. The next chapter is the last main chapter of the game. I will be doing the extra chapter and I will be doing the B-sides, as I keep telling myself and reaffirming myself to make sure I'll do it. Also, from here, if you go up, you have to know some speedrunning tactics, but if you go up, there is an Easter egg up there, but I'm not going to do it because it's a pain in the ass. Calling it quits, I see. No, I fell. It's over. That's probably for the best. The mountain doesn't pull any punches. Yeah, I get it. I wasn't strong enough to climb your stupid mountain. You can laugh at me again if you want. I didn't mean actually laugh. Sometimes you gotta know when to throw in the towel. You'll get over it. You know what? I've had a lot of time to think climbing out of this cave, and I'm already over it. That part of me was right. I can't do this. I'm just go home to my sad life and just be miserable forever. You clearly aren't over it. Shut up, I know. I don't want to give up, but no matter how hard I try, she sabotages me every step of the way. A lot of kids come here to climb the mountain only to give up. It's a shame that you fell. I was starting to think you'd make it. What makes me so special? I've never met someone so angry at themselves. Honestly, I thought you'd reach the summit just to spite yourself. Gee, thanks. This girl you're talking about, it sounds like she's holding you back. Talk to her. Figure out why she's so scared. You think she's scared? I guess I never thought of it that way. Stop wasting both our time and ask her. What have you got to lose? I mean, fair enough. I don't know how to find her. She's part of you, right? If you look for her, she won't take long to find. So you knew about the mountain's power? Of course I know. I live here. I tried to warn you. You need to work on your messaging. A glimpse of the truth is good for people. Even if most can't accept what they see. There's no shame in running back to your car and driving away. Someday you'll be ready, and then you'll come back. No. I'm going to see this through. No more running. I thought so. Good luck. I've still got more to say. How can you stand living here? Isn't it hard to deal with this all the time? It's true, you never really get used to it, but it keeps me sharp. I like that about it. But the mountain is so confrontational. Sure, it doesn't beat around the bush. Celeste Mountain is a place of healing, dear. The first step of healing is confronting the problem. It's never easy. Tell me about it. Well, as I was saying, you can boost up there. You have to know firstly how to do the upward wall boost, which is If you boost straight up next to a wall and then jump off it whilst you're still in the animation of the boost, you'll get a really stupendously high extended jump, and that will allow you to get up there. You need to know about corner spike jumping, because there's a lot of spikes in this game where you can jump perfectly off the corner of them, and it will count it as landing on a solid platform and not kill you. And you also need to know about the crouching boost jump that I've done a number of times in this, because it's just fun to do. All three of which you won't learn to do in the main game. Two of them you learned, one through the B-side, one through the C-side, and the other you just need to know about, the spike jumps. I never bother with the spike jumps because it's so agonizingly precise that I never bother doing it, so I can't show off that Easter egg until I learn it. But it's easy enough to look up online. But as we chase the shadowy field, we're working towards the dark part of us again. You just gotta keep jumping on this instead. It's just a ride all the way out to the end. And it rides for quite a while, to be fair, before finally starting to burn out. There it goes. And as the music quietens off, we approach our dark side. Looking for me? I thought you were done with me. That was a mistake. I'm sorry. You think you've got it all figured out? You think you don't need me? I said I'm sorry. We need to move past this. You expect me to trust you? You aren't innocent here either. But I know you're scared. Look, we're at rock bottom. There's no point in fighting. I could keep digging. I could pull us down to the center of the earth. What would be the point? Let's climb out of here. Together. Come close to me and I'll make you regret it. This is technically the climax of the game. I say that very technically because we still got another level to go, and it is the longest and hardest level, but the next level is treated as sort of a cooldown, whilst this is the final stretch. This is the main piece. This is the climax before the cooldown, like you would see in a film but don't see anywhere near as often in a video game. And this fight is pretty tough and will take you a while to get the hang of, because it's a very fast, very pressured situation, something that, although the game has dabbled in, has never really committed to for long periods of time, putting pressure on. Whilst this very much does. You're constantly pushing towards and having to avoid the obstacles in a more intense situation. And I enjoy it. I think it works very well as a strong climax to this part of the game. Being able to confront evil Madeline, or Darkalyn, or whatever people call her. I know people call it Emelyn as well, for emo Madeline. And every time you make contact with her, it'll count as a hit, but you have to finish the room for all your hits to be locked in, so to speak. So you have to hit her multiple times. It's only when she traverses onwards and we chase afterwards, that's all saved now. We don't have to do that bit again. Same like any room. But now it's going to start introducing, as I mess up my jump, start introducing having the gold feather in as well. There we go. And there is a bit of forgiveness on the hitbox. When she throws the dark energy balls, if you're at point blank, it will phase through you because you had no way of reacting and responding to it. If you're literally in breathing distance of her and you touch it, it will ignore it. Which is very nice of the game, that it will forgive you that way, that if you're that fucking close, it's like, yeah, you couldn't do anything about that, we'll let you off. Also, when you bounce off of her, it will fling you away, so you need to be prepared. It will always fling you the same direction away, regardless of which direction you hit her from, but you still got to be wary of it. It might fling you into a situation you wasn't prepared for. Oh, it does get sniped, God. Whee. I'm going to wait for that one, just jump it. We can make that. So thankfully that one launches you to the right instead of the left, otherwise that would have been a pain in the ass to go back down. Yeah, it starts to get more intense and more pressured as well as it goes on. Like you see that I had to get like 3 hits in a row without falling down, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get back up. I did you a favour. You aren't a mountain climber. I'm just trying to help you. None of this would have happened if you just listened to me. And now she's on her last ropes. Everything's going to become more distorted, as even including the music. Everything's all broken up. The level is randomly throwing pieces left and right that you got to use to launch yourself. Everything requires a lot more effort and a lot more work to get through because everything's broken, everything's falling apart. Because she's not in control anymore. You are. Which is a nice like sort of flip of it, of how much she's been fucking with us the whole game. I know I said I'm trying to refrain from swearing more and more often, but I think that's a justified point because she really has been messing with us throughout this game. She is the cause of a lot of our problems. But the thing is, we're not defeating her, per se. Like, the whole message of this chapter is to accept that she's there, not destroy her and get rid of her. Because, slight spoilers, because we're nearly there anyway, but at the end of this, we don't defeat her, we don't get rid of her, we work together. We're just convincing her to accept us as we accepted her. Which is supposed to be a message of how to start dealing with things like anxiety and depression, or, well, not necessarily dealing, because that's not what they're trying to do. They're not saying, oh, you can overcome it. They're just trying to say, you need to acknowledge it's there first. Which is a very fair point to make, because too many other games, when they try and handle this topic, first they have a bit too much ego about them, cough cough, Hellblade, cough cough. But secondly, don't really seem to 100% understand it, and I won't claim to say I understand it either, because no one truly does, because it's different for everyone. It's just a part of how it is. But one thing that is at least kind of accepted as universal is the first step towards any of it is knowing it's there. As we finally win and overcome it. As I say, overcome Madeline, not the issues. Fine. You win. I guess you don't need me after all. If you want me to go away, I'll try. That's not what I want. I need your help now more than ever. Please, just let's work together. Work together? You're joking, right? It's okay to be scared. Aww. Imagine that hugging yourself. That's kind of odd, but whatever. And this, we get a pretty cool reward for doing all of this. It says level up, but what it means is we now have 2 boosts. If you go back and play the older levels, you won't have this. This is literally just a plot thing that you'll have for the next level and the bonus level. You won't have it for any of the previous levels. You won't have it for the B-sides or C-sides. You'll only have it for Chapter 7 and the bonus chapter, and the B-side and C-sides of Chapter 7 and the bonus. As we move on and start really making progress up the mountain with our new joint effort. How did we do that? If we can climb like that, maybe we can still reach the summit. You still want to climb the mountain? Why would we go back up there? It's good to see you two playing nice. Hey, thanks for talking some sense into me earlier. Don't mention it. I'm glad I can still be useful every now and then. Madeline! There's so many voices, I can't do them all. Madeline, you're okay. I ran down to help, but it looks like you're doing fine. Thanks, Theo. Honestly, maybe that fall was what I needed. Is this the part of you were talking about? She's like an adorable goth, Madeline. Hi. You were right, Theo. I shouldn't be afraid. If her and I work together, I think we can still finish the climb. That's so rad. Wait, no. I didn't agree to this. You said we'd talk about things first. You're right. I understand that you're scared. But we both know this is something we want to do. We have to try one last time. Yeah, you got this. I don't know. We were so close and then we, fell. The mountain tore us apart. Yeah, that happened. But I have to believe we can put that behind us. I have to believe we're capable of this. It's not a bad idea. It'd still be difficult, mind you. But I'm amazed you got as far as you did, butting heads like you were. I reckon if you could make it if you cooperate. Okay. I'll try. Can I help? You've already done so much for me. Let me hold your bag at least. Good idea. This won't take long. And that's it. Next time we approach endgame as we do the final race to the summit. But until then, you guys take care now. Also, yeah, I did edit out quite a few deaths.